absolutely disgusted.
I don't think we know half the stuff that goes on, and it's been going on for time.
Yeah, but these lot are taking it far now, don't you think? Like, there should be a point where you stop. I don't... You know them weird people that just, I don't know, they live in their mum's basement.
That's what I'm saying. Those are
And
the people that run the government.
Oh, this is exciting, new discovery, and they're just, no.
But don't you remember that film that we watched? And then it said at the time, people were saying, yeah, that's what was that president? Prime Minister that was in just before with his big head and his googly eyes, just before Boris? No, and just before her, Mr. Burns. How have we forgotten our Prime Ministers already?
David Cameron.
That was his name.
The one that was shagging the pig.
That's what I'm saying. So, these are the people.
No.
There's a small group of people I've got to find.
Why did no one say nothing about, what's his name? The president, with his little Willie. Mm-hmm. When he got exposed. Don't you remember the one in America? Donald. Do you remember with the children? But do you remember the picture?
Yeah.
Yay! Why has everyone forgot about that?
I think people are under, like...
It's horrible.
Deep illusion, like... What do you say? Great deception.
Like,
what's it called?
Get brainwashed and then everyone just
the
forgets.
Bible talks about it, well, I think that's what everybody's under. Witchcraft, and people don't believe it.
MK Ultra.
What the delusion, the biggest great delusion is religion. And that's what we're about to speak about today. Most of these people that are in power and control don't live anywhere near a church. If there's not a church, it's a self-governing place, isn't it?
It's horrible.
So, well, we don't like to say hello because, as my Rasta biological father used to say, hell is low, we don't say hello. Very eccentric, and apparently I get some of my ways from him, but anywho. So we shall say, buenos dias.
Buenos dias. Buenos tardes.
Yeah, that's what we'll say. How is everyone? Yes, I'd like to thank all my constituents.
Again?
Yeah. I'd like to thank all the new subbies. I know we should be a bit more...
active.
Yeah. But
social.
We've been like working on other things, so we're real people with real lives.
Yeah, for make it in our life.
Yeah, but this week we're back on it. I think we've had a bit of a week where we needed to focus on other stuff. We ended on what we were talking about, America. And with us, we make little subliminal, we pull up things and we don't necessarily talk on it. We talk around it, about it, but not on that specific thing. But if you were paying attention, you would have seen a little piece come up about the land of Nod. And it gave you the coordinates to this place, didn't it? It gave you the coordinates to the place, and the place was in Massachusetts. Now, that's not where we were told the land of Nod was. In our Bibles, we've been told it was Africa, or just outside of Africa, the like sub-Saharan.
Is
right?
it?
No, it's not. It's Massachusetts. Don't believe me? All right, we'll put it up on the screen. Now, I got to reading it, and on the first line it said, Land of Nod is the name of a hamlet in the East Riding of Yorkshire, England. Is located at the far end of a 2-mile long, in brackets 3.2 kilometre road, which joins the A614 road at home on Spalding Moor, M-O-O-R.
What a coincidence.
Because if you did not know, as I've said before, in the Huxley Files, the book The Huxley Files by T.H. Huxley, who was a spokesperson for and scientist and historian of sorts for the Royal Society. So he's established. The Right Honourable T.H. Huxley said that England was wholly or in part swarthy, as in black.
Black
The
nigga.
inhabitants were black. So everybody that said England and threw up your flags, I guess a
The
lot of you
flag
didn't
is
know that
funny.
flag as well is a Hebrew flag, the white one with the red cross down the middle. Yeah,
Where
it
does
used to have in each corner the emblem of a very black man with a headscarf like this, but around the hair. We'll show you that. There's a book of maps and crests with lots of black people, and a lot of them also were Germans, which makes perfect sense, as in swarthy Pleites and all of that. Myths, they call it. And that is actually the main point of our conversation today, because we are told that a lot of these things are myths. But what I've begun to realise is, what do they say? There's a saying, if you want to hide something from black people, it's a bit rude. Put it in a book. No, put it in a book.
That's just rude.
Yeah, it's rude.
That's rank.
Right, but from anyone, because we weren't allowed to read.
What say we don't read?
Yeah, because we weren't allowed to at one stage. We always had a language, because if you remember, well, I've shown you before, all languages derive from an Afro-Semitic language. Yes, I've shown you quite a few times, and that the Semitic and well, anyway, the original language, they don't differ from each other hardly. They're the same thing. So back to what I'm saying.
Land of Nod.
So I looked up Hamlet. First of all, I went, Massachusetts. Now, if you remember our last video, Massachusetts, Atlanta, where else? Plymouth Rock, sorry, where the Pilgrims came. Plymouth Rock is all on the outskirts of America. Where they brought the ships in with African Americans. Or I'm beginning to find out as well now from these hamlets that they were bringing them also. Not only did they take them out of America over to England and brought them back again. And Spain and Denmark.
And then you changed their names how many times?
Yeah.
So then when it comes to like identifying themselves or trying to find their families, they don't have the same
lineage.
Same lineage.
Yeah. And what we have to remember is that when we talk about voyages and time periods, you have to remember, okay, in this day and age, we don't live up to 100. If we do, we're lucky, right? So every time a generation dies, if you want to call it that, the new generation don't really know, if it hasn't been documented, that what happened before. So when it talks about Africa being the motherland, as I said before, these current or more up to date 18th century voyagers are new. They don't know that their predecessors already been there and done it. They don't understand that America, Africa, and even England were all almost kissing each other on the map.
Yeah,
we didn't have to go on ships and go far. In fact, we were conversing and marrying and intermarrying with each other from time, and we were having arguments and problems. Now, as I said, people are still asking where's Atlantis? It's America. I don't know how you just don't know. You gotta be just being idle not to know, because you only type it in Google and it will come up. Right. So I'm going to share books with you today, but that was the link. When I said it in the last video, I don't know if some people thought, what's the link? Massachusetts, Atlanta, all those places are part of Atlantis, also called Maya, also called Yucatan, also called Egypt. And prior to this 18th, 17th, 18th, 19th century of travellers, before then, in the 1400s, there was a lot of killing off the royals in England, because as I said, they were marrying, the French, the English were marrying into the tribes in America. That's facts. And also this whole thing about race, there was white skinned. Yeah, but the royals were marrying each other. They were marrying each other, and then as time's gone on, when religion didn't work, then it became about class. And then when that didn't work, it became about race. That didn't work. Religion. When that didn't work, it became about race. You know.
They got to find anything, innit?
Yeah. This is what a lot of people don't know. And like I said, because every generation dies off and then you're not told certain things, you think that the stuff you believe is actually real, and it's not. It's just propaganda. It's been created. So what am I saying is, so I looked up the word Hamlet because I said, Hamlet. Now, when we think about Hamlet,
familiar to?
Yeah, when we think about Hamlet, we think about Shakespeare, don't we? There's a book called Hamlet, but it's about a prince of Denmark, isn't it? Now, what have I said to you? When they want to hide the truth, they hide it in plain sight, or tell you it's what?
A lie. A myth.
A myth, right. So, I keep reading. The name Land of Nod was accorded locally to the northerly 3,000 acres of the Great Plot lying north of Woburn, Massachusetts. At its foundation in 1640-42, the name being probably suggested by a comparison of its forlorn condition, so far remote from church ordinances with the nod to which Cain wandered when he went from the presence of the Lord. Its Native American name was Nena Sawataka-Wataks. So, that made me just say, what the heck's going on? I want to know what Hamlet is, so I looked it up. So, it says, a small settlement, generally one smaller than a village, and strictly, in brackets, in Britain, one without a church. Now, why without a church, you may ask? Because, as I've said before, the churches govern the whole planet, all of us. I've been telling you...
Jeff Bezos is buying Catholicism, and most of the population are Catholics.
Even if you say, oh, well, I'm not religious, I've been trying to tell you, you are still governed by the church. The church govern everything, you know. So, I read further, and it said, in England, the word Hamlet, having the French origin given at the top of this article, means a house or a village without a church. Although hamlets are recognised as part of land use, planning policies and administration, in modern uses it generally refers to a secondary settlement in a civil parish after the main settlement, if any. Such an example is the hamlet of Chipping, being the secondary settlement within the civil parish of Buckland. Hamlets may have been formed around a single source of economic activity, such as farm, mill, mine or harbour, that employed its working population. Did you hear that? So what kind of people are on a hamlet? Remember when we spoke about the Caucasian genocide, and we spoke Circassian, sorry, and we spoke about the Inuits, and where they were was remote, and there was only 800 of them, and who did they derive from? The Africans and the Americans, or the indigenous Alaquayans or the Amarukans, and they brought them over to these places to either do experiments on them, or rape them, or you know what? Now I'm thinking more and more about it. Let me finish reading.
They have to do things in secret because
some hamlets may be the result of depopulation of a village.
It's a setup.
An example of such a hamlet is Graby or Shapwick because of the hilly topography of the parish. The village of Clent, situated on the Clent Hills, consists of 5 distinct hamlets. But what else I wanted to say to you is that they weren't just in England. Maybe they started there, but when I read the list, there was France, India, Denmark, Germany, some in China. Listen, America. And when we think about America, we know that they took the native Indians and they had little settlements everywhere, because really they're settlements. But when there's no church there, that means you're not governed by any laws. There's no laws.
That's why it makes me feel sick, because these people have been doing this for the longest time. The government is backing them to continue, and they
They are the government.
Well, exactly, but they have their little secret villages, and imagine you have one in every state, in every city, in every town. You know, you can take over the world at some point. Although they're calling it's not a religion, it's still like a way of thinking, isn't it? So you take over people's minds and tell them, oh, it's in a book, but black people aren't allowed to read.
And the spin-offs, if you want to call them, the gentrified races, the Circassians,
minorities,
the minorities, the subhumans, and so
it's out of order.
And so they give us the church. So this is proving the fact that I've been saying to you. So they give us the church
full of demons.
They give us the church, and what we don't realise is that we're practicing a lot of our practices, and the people that we're venerating are little demonic, disgusting, non-church, don't listen to rules and laws.
Rapists.
We are venerating them and thinking that we've been given this washed out religion which venerates demons and sin and
vile things.
Right. And so it brings me to my point there. If you are looking for the truth, look in a book.